Next guest, and thank you so much. My pleasure.
What we hear, what's happening here. It is taking place in Israel, and we're really honored. And we have with us Mr. Moshick. Is it Kobarski?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, welcome. You're on the air live now.
Morning. Oh, good evening. Good morning for me.
Yeah, good.
Yes, because you're calling all the way from Israel, and it's another time zone. It's in the morning there. What time is it?
It's a little bit after 7 a.m.
Okay,
Wow.
great. And and we want to thank our friend Nurit for making the connection, and welcome. And you have a lot to say, and we have plenty of time to do it. So go ahead.
Wonderful. So I'm here to tell you what's going on politically in Israel over the last 7 years. I'll try to do it short, but no doubt you'll find a lot of parallels to what happened in the United States. You all know that in the last 7 months we had a government without Benjamin Netanyahu, who did great things for the country. And this new government has been busy at work undoing all his achievements. But the reason I came here is to tell you that what really happened over the last 7 years is a coup via judicial and media means, and that's how they got this switch. So we start 2015. We had an election in which a right-wing coalition led by Netanyahu won against all odds. They thought they will win. They even got support, according to a Senate hearing from a State Department, a progressive left organization that supposedly helped the left to be elected, but it didn't prevail. So Netanyahu formed the government, and then they realized that in order to defeat him, the only way is to topple him using the legal authorities with the enthusiastic cooperation of the liberal mainstream media. Sounds familiar, right? And what they did is they did all the tools they had in their arsenal. They went after a significant policy issue, not the trivial stuff they tried to do before. They went after him personally. They investigated him without the proper authority of the Attorney General. They ran a fishing expedition. They didn't really know what he did wrong, but they arrested people and they investigated them, asked them to tell them what he did wrong, even though they didn't have any pre-information. They went after his close aides. They arrested them at 6 o'clock in the morning and blackmailed them with unrelated issues. So they will tell them stuff about Netanyahu. And then they turned them into state witnesses, hoping that once he heard that they became state witnesses, he will retire voluntarily. He'll be too afraid. But Netanyahu didn't give in. Netanyahu continued. Netanyahu achieved great achievements. He signed a very major advancement to Israel together with President Trump. He signed the deal of the century, the moving the embassy to Jerusalem. You all know that. And then, when they realized that he's not going to retire voluntarily, came the peak of the hunting season, because in 2019 we had another election after 4 years, and the campaign before the election of Netanyahu was really not against the rival party but against the public prosecution. They leaked vicious, selective leaks from the investigation, things that they shouldn't do. It's against the law. They leaked internal discussions to the media every night on the news. They read the protocols of discussions that, again, should be kept secret at that point. The material was not even submitted to court yet. And they affected public opinion. And they submitted a very sloppy indictment 40 days before the 2019 election.
Just 40 days?
What they had... 40 days before the election of 2019.
Okay, we'll be right back. We're just going to take a really very short break, but we'll be coming right back. People, don't go away. We've got some great information coming directly from Israel. So, all right, and we're back. We're back with Mr. Kobarski directly from Israel. Now, boy, what you're describing really sounds, familiar, following, the surprise win by Donald Trump in 2016, and immediately with the Russia hoax, immediately with the press, and it was constant. So you're really drawing a very, very familiar parallel.
Yeah, it's almost eerie how everything really matches. So what happened, despite all this campaign, the election of 2019 ended with a tie. So if there wasn't this campaign, if they would play fair and square, no doubt we would have a stable right-wing government for another four more years. But Netanyahu kept in power for 2 more years using kind of a lame duck coalition. You know, our administration is a little different than yours. We have a coalition government. So he managed to tie it, but it was really prevented from doing a lot of good stuff. Even though he signed, remember the deal of the century he did with the White House together with Trump. But the trial itself started in January 21. That means a year ago. And 3 months later, there was an election in which, again, it was almost a tie. But then a couple of rhinos in our term, people who call themselves to be right, but they're not really right, went into the left and cooperated with them in order to break the tie, and that's how we got Bennett as the prime minister and other people which are doing really bad for the country. But let's talk about the trial for a moment. So the trial itself started in April, and at that point, the court forced the prosecution to detail some of them. And let me tell you what the trial is about. I mean, it's really ridiculous, and it's unfolding in court. He's blamed in bribe, where what is the bribe? What did he get in return? Some access to a very marginal website, some good articles they wrote about him. This is the bribe that Netanyahu got. I mean, a website that was rated number 14 on his priority list. And in return, they invented some regulatory action that he did, which he should have done anyway. It wasn't anything illegal in them. They're blaming him for receiving a cigars from an old friend. I mean, these things are outrageous, and they're crumbling in court. So I, for one, joined an organization called Project 315, which we formed 9 months ago. And what we did is we call ourselves Project 315 because the court forced the prosecution to add an appendix to the indictment in which they list exactly the cases where Netanyahu got this favorable coverage supposedly from this website, and that's 315 items. So what we did, we gathered a bunch of volunteers, about 100 volunteers. We're a team of 4 people, and we totally disproved each one of these 315 items. We put it on a website, unfortunately in Hebrew right now, and we actually are helping in some way the defense in unraveling this case.
Can you tell us that website? Are you able to tell us the website?
Sure, it's THE315 .org. But it's in Hebrew.
Okay.
And
Got it.
we are thinking about translating it, by the way.
I think you should, so the rest of us know about it.
Have a more global reach.
Yeah, we believe it. We will. We have some volunteers who, everything we do is voluntarily. I mean, we don't get a penny for what we do. We just believe in the cause. We believe that justice has to prevail. We believe the truth has to come out. And in the court hearing right now, it's a total massacre for the prosecution. Unfortunately, the judges don't have the authority to come and say, we stop this charade. They have to continue for years and bring a witness after witness. The state witnesses go on the stand and they start to become a defense witness. And it's really it raises a lot of interest in Israel right now. But a lot of people are supporting us because we are actually showing that what we said in the beginning, that it was a coup. It was all a campaign to depose Netanyahu using judicial and media means. And that shouldn't be in a democracy. In a democracy, the people should decide. We, the people, should decide who is our leader. And they go and brainwash the people's mind with some illegal, bogus information. That's a shake-up for the whole democratic system.
Wow.
It is, I have a question, actually. I don't mean to go abroad, too far afield, but do you think that this push, the coup, the push for a new government was in any way intended to benefit the vaccine push in Israel?
No, I think this is an unrelated issue. In Israel, there is some discussion about this, but it is not the main subject that's on the agenda. We have other issues. We have political and economical issues. This government has been doing so many bad things for the country, I can't even start counting them. And we hope that, fortunately, unlike in the States, in our government, the government can be toppled tomorrow, and Netanyahu theoretically can go back to power. We don't have to wait 4 years to change the president.
So interestingly enough, so if this court case came to an end tomorrow for whatever reason, he could go back to power even though you've got a prime minister, or how would that work?
Well, it's not directly related to the court case because he's allowed to be a prime minister even when the trial is going on until it is not a final verdict. Yeah, it's the indictment enough is not enough to depose. You have to have a verdict. And we see why this is right because we see that the indictment itself is false.
So if he doesn't, if he didn't get indicted, let's say that they just said, no, we're not going to, he indicted. Let's say the verdict is in his favor. He's not guilty of taking a cigar from a friend or whatever else they've conjured up. Do you think that people would vote him back in office?
Well, yeah, it will create a momentum, no doubt. And several of the parties that say that they won't cooperate with him because he is being indicted may change their mind. In general, it's all a political calculation. And it's enough. Right now, the government is so shaky. Enough if two members of parliament right now changing their minds and say we are going to Netanyahu's side, then he can get a 61 vote and out of 120 and become a prime minister again.
So the people want him back.
The people want him back. The politicians are enjoying their short-lived popularity by being in power. But
10 minutes of fame?
Yeah. Yeah.
15 minutes of fame?
Well, Moshe, what we'd like to do, as because as this is an ongoing process, if you're willing, we'd like to have you come back in a couple of weeks to give us an update of the trial.
Oh, absolutely.
And so,
I'll be happy to. Thanks.
No, we really appreciate it, and we want to thank Narit for making the introduction.
We love Narit. And you know what? Thank you for getting up. I don't know if you normally get up at this hour or if you're a sleeper inner type, but thank you for getting up early to be on the air. We really appreciate it. And say hello to all of our friends in Israel because we do support Israel. We are conservative and we need Israel. We need you and we support you.
And we thank you for the support.
All right. Thank you. And that's
Project315.org.
Yeah, you can just Google Project 315 in English, and it will come up.
All right, perfect, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.